Hey everybody, welcome to Season 4, Episode 14 of The Hard Truth, inside the Football History Podcast with me, Philip Ideson, and Darragh MacAnthony, Chairman and Co-owner of Peterborough United. And we didn't have much football last week at City, but you had a great 3-0 win on Saturday.
Have you played since we last talked?
Well, we had the EFL Trophy, the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, I guess it is now, wasn't it, last Tuesday?
Yeah.
And then we were off. We were supposed to play Salford on Saturday, and it got waterlogged.
Well, I woke up I flew in on Friday, and then I woke up Saturday morning to my driver was, Rob was at the door going, "Oh, Liz has rang me and the game could be off." This was like 9:30. I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
But no, fair play to our groundsman. We got a new groundsman now that's come in, a crew, and I knew Tuesday night we played Arsenal in the trophy, last 32, and gave them a good scene too, and that was a good win for like our squad. Mm-hmm. I could see the pitch had been under covers for some time, and it was with the rain, it was struggling. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then Saturday, it held, but it's getting messy. So now our guys got a couple of weeks to get it kind of back again, because we have a pretty good pitch this season, and the weather, the covers, everything's just contributed to it. And I think it was raining so much overnight. Everyone was kind of a bit like, we don't need another Charlton situation. So it was all hands on deck. But I'm quite confident the people now at the club and stuff, that touch wood, that ain't happening. But yeah, really good win on Tuesday night. Malik, got his proper start, and he looks like he's going to compete with Ricky up front. We battered Arsenal 3-0, missed about 9 one-on-ones, and then on Saturday played Oxford. So that was a test, because, as Swanee likes to say about, we've only beaten this in the top 6, or we haven't beaten any clubs in the top 6, or blah, 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 blah. And we, no word of a lie, probably could have been 6-7-0.
You mentioned Swanee there. He was very happy post-game with some of the things I was reading.
Yeah, and rightly so. I mean, him and Ben would have very little to moan about, thankfully. But look, you seek perfection, so you're always going to find some things you're not entirely happy about. But we could have been 5-0 up by half-time. Then in the second half, we were playing against the wind, so we weren't as effective. So we dug in. Then we showed our resilience side defensively. Of course, Oxford are going to try and come out and play, and they're 2-0 down. And again, we missed the best chances. Our goalies made a great save, And fair play to the back line. They, even though it was comfortable for us, they fought for the clean sheet. I think that's their 9th in 20 games, for obviously the goal in the back line. So fair play to them. But it was very comfortable. We were very good. We were very, very, very good. And Ricky was sensational. The things he did. He left 2 of their defenders. They had a 20-yard head start on them, and he went past them like fucking Usain Bolt, and I think shot both of them. And then obviously one-on-ones. Again, it's the little things, but it's the things we can improve. If you're going to criticize us offensively, you'd say, well, you missed too many one-on-ones, but we're the top scorers in League One. So you can't have it all, otherwise you'd be playing Premier League, right? So, but the one thing I'll know is that there are areas we'll improve. We'll improve in that. We'll improve, defensively. We're very good at home. We have to improve away from home. We're not bad away from home. Should have won more games, but we will get better. So, a couple of big away games back to back coming up. So, early days, but the lads they're in a good place. They're the front four are sensational at times. The back line are doing their job. The midfield boys, again, holding their end of the bargain, controlling games. It's a pleasure and a joy to watch. Regardless of where you are in leagues or what you're chasing, what you're not chasing, if you can sit and enjoy your team and what they're doing, you've cracked it as regards as a fan.
Yeah.
And
the enjoyment factor.
Yeah, correct. And it's same as an owner. You're working hard, you're grafting, you're paying bills, you're doing what you can. If you can enjoy what you're seeing on a Saturday, on a Tuesday, and you're trying to do things in the right way, it makes things a lot easier. It makes things just better. So long may that continue. They're not perfect, and they're nowhere near perfect, but we're striving to get better. Something tells me 2024 we will just get better and better. So yeah, so it was great to be there on Saturday.
You talked about the pitches earlier. Do you think that will impact, given that you've built a game on pace and really breaking, do you think that there's going to be some new challenges as the pitches get slower and muddier and bobbly?
I think we'll be actually okay with that. I think we'll be fine. I think we were playing the car park if we had to. And I think as the season goes on, you can look at it the other way as well and say defenders get tired.
Yeah.
And we have a lot more pace to come.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would say that actually favours us, and those pitches will dry, the sun will come out, you know, and right now it's just about you get results, you grind out, you move on, you get results. You got a lot of games over Christmas, you know, there's a lot of stuff, cups, everything else. Fair play to the squad. They're handling everything on different levels, cup-wise, league-wise, rotation-wise. And the best part about it is like 3 of the subs on Saturday were unbelievable for the 3rd goal. And again, it's like, it's tough because when you got the settled 11 and you got people who played again at Arsenal and won 3-0 and were very good, and Jandor Fuchs had 2 assists, and, you know, there were great performances all over the park. It's tough for them not being in the 11, but they understand it's a squad game, and they understand when they're called upon, you got to step in and you've got to play like this and you've got to do these things. And I think the manager and the staff are at that stage where they've got everyone right where they want them, where there's no jealousy about not being in the 11 and, you know, moaning or cribbing or complaining like you've had in the past with some experienced players who, I'm not playing and I need to play. And they're very much, you know, buying into everyone together, what we want to do and where we can go with this. And then that's good. And you just want to hold on to that as long as you can. So that's the key.
One of the goals, I can't remember which goal it was, but it was Harrison Burrows who basically had an easy-ish chance to score himself, but squared it for a tap-in. And that said a lot to me about the unselfishness about the squad. Like, oftentimes, you know, when players are playing for themselves, they'll take the attempt at the goal. But there was no questions that he laid that off and, you know, didn't take the glory himself.
You'll see that with, you know, you'll see Joe Randall has done that many times this season. He's in on goal, and all of a sudden he squared it to the right, and you're like, what the fuck, and tap in. And it's like, we have very selfless players, you know. So I think they demand off themselves better standards. So, you know, in that case, if H, he made a mistake and he didn't do that, he'd be called out by his teammates. So, you know, that even set pieces, everything what we're doing is getting better. You just wanted those little margins, just keep getting better, keep getting better, keep getting better. So everyone always wants to look for a negative or wants to look for, well, you know, can you do this better? Can you do that better? But like I said to you, if you did all those things at a high premium, you'd be a Premier League football, right? So, and even watching the best teams, my Liverpool, and some of those teams you're watching, they're missing one-on-ones, they're missing chances. Darwin Nunez has missed umpteen easy chances and stuff. So it happens all over the pyramid. It's just, you know, that's football. You're not going to, if you've 20 shots on goal, you're not going to score 12 of them.
Right.
But I'll take 3 and 4, you know, so happy days.
Well, the big question of the game was, did you leave at 2-0 or did you see it through to the end?
No, I've done it all season. I've stayed.
All right, good.
So I'm getting over the OCD. I'm getting my nerves, you know, and whatever else. And like I said, I mean, even Doncaster last week, 2-0, and then they scored. And you're like, oh my fucking God, it's 15 minutes. But no, I'm you know what? It's cost me a lot of money. I've got to try and enjoy it. So,
right. Those are the good moments, like the last, when you're celebrating a win at the final whistle.
Correct. And you're able to say to all the lads coming off the pitch, well done, brilliant job, you know, and hearing the fans as well, you know, singing after players that were getting dug out a year ago, and, you know, the support for players like Randall and Ricky, you know, the fans are seeing it, the fans are buying into it, and I think the fans stick with us through that no matter what. Those players will be fine. Those players can play as high as they want. So let's see if they can create something special for 2024. You know, they'll try. If not, they don't. But we're going to give it our best shot.
So when it comes to cups, you talked about the EFL Trophy. So you've got Crawley at home now. And what are we, last 16?
Last 16
at this point?
Yeah, it's last 16.
We avoided each other in the
waiting for the final. Waiting for the final. Imagine that. That's the final, you know. I might get you a seat in the royal box, you know.
Yeah, there you go. We're next to Baz. Baz will be there for sure.
Absolutely. So, yeah, look, we want to win that trophy. You know, we've won it before. We'd love to win it again. Anytime you can add silverware, no matter what league you're in, you want to go as far as you can. So yeah, we're both into the next round. Well done, Bradford and Peterborough. Really, it's one of them things, you know what I mean? Go as deep as you can. It gets really interesting. What are you now? Your last 16 quarters semi, you 3 wins from Wembley. I got that right? 16, 8, 4. 3 wins from Wembley. So, you know, that Wembley payday, that's a good payday. It's a great day out for the club. It's a great day out for fans. And as much as people want to go at that competition, you know, it's really...
You show up if you're at Wembley.
They go when it's Wembley, and it becomes really, you know, interesting and exciting. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to that. We've got Leeds in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
That's selling off the charts, hospitality, everything else. We've been throwing back to the Sunday for BBC highlights. We didn't quite make the TV games.
No, do you get extra money though for the extended highlights?
Yeah, 30 grand, I think. So,
okay.
But you know, if it were to take away from the gate, it would kill you. So you know, you like to think it won't. I think Leeds will sell that out. I think, you know, corporate hospitality sold out already. We're at that level. Alex was telling me yesterday, it's the demand's through the roof. So yeah, it'll be a good game. You like to think Leeds will rest their Premier League 11. You know, because that's what I call it now. You can see them firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
So who knows? You know, we're good at home. It'll be a good game. You know, maybe get a replay, go to Ellen Road, get it on TV this time, and then have a proper big payday. You know what I mean? So that would maybe be the ideal scenario. So yeah.
And then do them at Ellen Road.
Well, listen, I didn't say that. That's a tough tie. It's a Premier League tie.
I know, right?
I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't for Ipswich running away with second and the start they've had, Leeds would be in the top two.
Yeah.
So it's.
But isn't it incredible that Ipswich? I mean, I know you called them being strong, but to go from when we talk about the gaps getting wider between leagues, that they've, even with that, it's not like they've had wholesale changes to their squad.
Massive credit to them, because they caught the bug around, I think it was Christmas last year, when they started digging in the results, went on a run. If you look at from that onwards, they've just stayed there. They've stayed at those levels. Obviously, their manager is tremendous. He's, you know, top class, and their biggest problem will be holding on to him. Yeah, because Premier League clubs will want him. So, but that's a massive football club. If they go to the Premier League, it's a big club. It's bigger than the clubs in the Premier League already. So
they can generate a lot of revenue.
100%, and they've got some wealthy owners. So I think, you know, but you're right. They didn't go and sign 10 players and make, you know, he stayed with a lot of the 11 from League One, and it's paid off in a really positive. And I love seeing things like that. So Jack Taylor got in on Saturday, you know, and he's a tremendous player, and he's struggling to break into that 11. So fair play to the players. They built a really good team last year, and you know, when they lost the game there recently, I thought, okay, let's see. And you know, together, I think they beat Middlesbrough on Saturday. I mean, they're just knocking off the wins. So the problem Ipswich have got is that you've got these monsters of Leeds and Southampton right behind you. So if
you got to keep going all season, don't you?
If Ipswich win promotion with a league with a Premier League Leicester, Premier League Leeds, you know, Premier League Southampton in it, it's got to go down as, you know, it's got to be up there, you know. So, you know, listen, we've got a few $100,000 for Jack if they go up. So I'm, of course, an Ipswich fan. I want them to go up. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating viewing. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, and so we beat Liverpool, as we mentioned, in the EFL Trophy.
Comfortable.
So what's that?
Was it comfortable?
Yeah, I think it was 4-0. I mean, they had a man sent off after half an hour, but it was never never in doubt. Which is interesting. You know, you obviously had a decent run against Arsenal. We beat Man City as well in the group stages. Was it Tottenham you had, or I can't remember? You had Spurs, didn't you, in the group?
They're on the 21 side in the Premier League. So, and I think they've won 10 in a row. And we battered them, yeah. So
what value is there? Like, why is these are good players? Right? I mean, they're not a bad player because they're obviously a good player because they're in these academies, but they're struggling against you know, League One and League Two opposition. Why is that?
I don't think it's because of ability. I think it's because of what they're playing in. If you gave the Tottenham and Arsenal sides we played, if they play 40, I'm not suggesting they join our league, by the way. I'm just saying here, before people start losing their shit, I'm against B teams and whatever else coming into our leagues like in Spain. So buyer beware if anyone wants to write an article on me saying that. So, but if you were to put the Arsenal and Tottenham side we played in League One over 46 games, and they played every week, they'd be top 6.
Okay.
In my opinion.
So it's just about the difference in quality of their pace compared to what they play usually.
They're playing 3 times against our teams, 3 times. Yeah. And you're seeing more and more than win. You know, Tottenham won a big game. You know, you're seeing more and more than win. You know, Arsenal are in the last 32, Liverpool are in the 32. So they're already saying they're in the 32 teams out of League One and League Two. They're in the final rounds. West Ham smashed Colchester. So they're playing a really crappy, like, pass it about, hardly any tackling level, under 21, under 23. Then they come in and play League One teams. No, you know, I think they do all right, you know, in the lower league. So don't think because you're not getting 8 of them in the final 16 or whatever else, you know, that's just lack of game time mentality against League One, League Two. But if they played more games, trust me, it would be interesting. Very interesting.
Now, the players that are left in those academy sides, are the reasons why they haven't gone out on loan? to League One, League Two? Like, does League One, League Two take the best, and even the Championship take the best of those academy players, or
potentially? But I there was plenty of good players in the Arsenal Spurs team. You know, I think it's cost factor as well. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see the number of League One and League Two clubs that have taken Premier League players last year to this year. And I'm just wondering, is cost factoring into it now? Is you know?
I haven't seen as many this year.
Are they getting too expensive? Or Premier League clubs? You know, we were very lucky. Man City were brilliant with us. You know, for Katango, and Chelsea were great with Zach. They didn't kill us financially. They understood it was more important. They play. They're involved. That's invaluable. You know, whereas other clubs we'd spoken to, you're talking about 3, 4, 5 grand a week in wages. So some clubs get it, some clubs don't get it. If by chance we were in the Premier League, I would make sure all of our under-21s from our Cat B Academy were out for free in League One and League Two. I'd want 15, 16 of them out there playing every week. I would. I'd be like, listen, take them. If you don't play them, then you're going to have to pay something towards their expenses, not their full wages. But if you play them, don't want any money. Just play them, because that to me is more valuable. You know what I mean? And whatever else. So I don't know what's good. Again, we've spoken about it so many times. It's one of those things that it's not fully fixed. It's not fully perfect. It's not nuanced enough. There's things that need to be done with the loans that come from the Premier League down. Forget the champ. I'm talking League One, League Two. That needs to be perfected, and we're nowhere near it yet.
So we had this week Mark Hughes speaking out about his sacking. Did a podcast with Big Sam, and he said how unfair it was, and how he was fine. Like he had faith in what he was doing and what he was building, and it was just other people at the club who obviously didn't share that perspective. So he's not really taking accountability.
Is he throwing Ryan under the bus kind of thing, or was it? Yes,
and I think he's trying to position himself for another job potentially. You know. He basically said, when I joined Bradford, I wasn't sure if I had any more jobs in me. And now I've kind of got the bug back again, and I think I can go again. So I think he's trying to position himself for another job.
Okay. I mean, listen, the new manager's done well. It's been
so far, so good. Yeah.
So good. And I guess, you know, football's fascinating, isn't it? You know, the change of managers, what it can do to a club. And I see Cheltenham, again, did well the other day, and clubs couldn't buy a goal or buy it, you know, and you change a manager and suddenly things are rosy in the Garden of Eden. And so it'll be interesting to see if Bradford rise over Christmas, then you can point to it and go, well, actually, Hughes didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't do a good job. So he did last year. He got you to the playoffs. You know, Bradford should never be losing to Carlisle in the playoffs of League Two. But Carlisle, obviously, you know, their manager out-tacted and outmaneuvered them and beat them. So,
and ironically, you know, I read this week about Paul Simpson talking about all the stick that he's getting from certain aspects of the Carlisle fans. And this isn't a dig at Carlisle, because this happens at every single club. You just wonder, you know, look at the miracles that he
what a job
he did last year in getting them promoted.
What job he's done.
And you know, 6 months in, it's not like they're, you know, already relegated. And he's already getting abuse for, he can't win every game.
He's got new owners that came in too late for the window. So it's not like Carlisle were out there spending money. And, you know, now he's got new owners. You know, allow this guy to show you what he can do with money now. He's already shown you with no money, he's a fucking good manager. And he's shown you where he's coached with England under 20s. He's a good manager with young people. So he's got, you know, he's got history. He's got everything on his side. I don't think anyone should be giving him any stick. Like, with all due respect, you know, you add their budget up to other people's budgets in League One. You know, he did what a job he did, like getting them last year. So you'd love to see him get a couple of windows to really show what he can do. You know, some of these managers, you know, they just don't get the credit. They just don't get the patience. It's fascinating, really. So interesting.
So your Liverpool boys, we're going to the Premier League. Another late winner. I think Klopp now has more 90-plus minute winners than Fergie had.
To be fair, I've watched the last 3 games against Fulham, against Sheffield United, and against Palace, and I thought we were crap on all 3 games. And that's a sign of a great team.
Winning.
My gaffer came into my office on Saturday while I was watching it, and obviously I was jumping when we were scoring and whatever, but I was moaning because we weren't very good. And he was like, I think they'll win the league. And I said, I think it's a season too early for that. And I'm not for the front 3, whoever he plays, and he needs to settle on a 3 and whatever else. They're not added enough for me. You know, that's what we struggle against, like Sheffield United, you know, Fulham, yeah, great comeback. You know, it's not quite, but he's building against something nice. There's something special brewing. Now, if Man City did continue to have a blip, and I don't think they will, I think they'll win 20 in a row from January onwards. If they did, I would favour Liverpool over anyone else to nip in.
Yeah.
But I just think we're a year too early. I think we're a number 6, potentially a new left back, away from being what we want to be. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I am there. But I'm loving, you know, the fact they're playing badly and winning games. It's a great habit. It's a really, really good habit. When you're not at your best, but you're digging out results, and we've done that at times this season. That's a brilliant habit to have. So the test will be injuries, squad. You know, I think African Nations happens in January. All those things. If Liverpool are still within 3-4 points of the title in March or April, I'll take back my thing and say they have a chance to win. But I just, no matter how bad Man City are playing them, they got a good win against Luton, whatever else, I still think they're the team that could win 15, 16, 17, 18 games in a row. I just think they have it in them.
When they get into final gear, it's like they're not in 5th gear at the moment.
They go in January onwards, you know, Bosh. It's like, yeah. So I think it's Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. Aston Villa, phenomenal what they're doing. I'm sure they're going to continue to be up there, but an outside chance for the top 4. You're now seeing now what a squad does to a team as well. You got Tottenham had a great win against Newcastle. Tottenham struggled because of injuries. We knew that. Otherwise, they'd be up there at the top. Newcastle now not having a squad that's able to handle Champions League, Premier League. They looked fucking exhausted. Like defensive 𝗛𝗿𝗂, his team just they looked shattered. This Tuesday, Wednesday nights, traveling back, European games, playing on a Saturday, Sunday, early kickoffs. These are all the things Liverpool, City, you know, I've been dealing with for the last 5 seasons.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the next evolution of the squad now, is to build up some depth.
Right. So the massive credit will go to Klopp, considering Liverpool were runner-up by points goal difference to Man City all those times, and then winning Champions League, staying late in Champions League. So Newcastle now have to find a way, and I don't know how they do it, financial fair play, but you need more. You need to be able to have those 5, 6, 7 changes if necessary. So interesting.
And the old manager got a new manager bounce with Chris Wilder coming back to Sheffield United.
Yeah. Fair play to the Sheffield United fans. I watched the game. I saw the highlights of it and whatever else. And yeah, we'll see how he does. I think you know, he hasn't done well since he's left there, and you know his behaviour at the time when he did want to leave there. So maybe he's had a rude awakening, and maybe it's refocused him. So you know, shrewd appointment. If anyone can cause a miracle there, it will be him.
I mean, are there managers that are one club managers?
Some managers, and some would say that about Fergie.
Right.
And you know, for me, I would say potentially. You know, we're talking about the Carlisle manager who's been back and forth there. Just sometimes it fits, it works. So maybe it's the same for Wilder. I'm not sure they have enough to stay up. If anyone's going to stay up out of them down there, it'd be probably Luton. Because at the end of the day, don't ever question anything the Luton owners do, because they've got it right for so long that you've got no right to question anything they do. And they're a tough team to beat. And, you know, they nicked points off us at their place. Arsenal were fucking jammy and fluky to score a last-minute winner. And then Man City basically won 2-1 there. So, you know, Luton are doing what Luton do. You know, and then you got to give massive kudos to Sean Dyche. I said recently about this, what a job he's doing with Everton. Fuck me, to be in the top 10 of the Premier League.
I know. We're already 4 points above the relegation zone, even with the points deduction.
Yeah, so
1, 4 and 5.
Yeah, so the only one I think that might get dragged into is Nottingham Forest, particularly with all the pressure on the manager. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. So, you know.
And a special mention to Bournemouth, beating Man United 3-0 at Old Trafford. And it's a couple of good wins they've had.
It's not a good. I think they've won 5 and 6. I think. Yeah, they're playing some unbelievable football.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they haven't lost in at least the 5 that I can see here.
And I think what's happened there is he's drilled into them since day one. We're a bit like what we're doing. We're not changing. This is what we're doing. We're sticking. Fair play to the owner, Foley, the American. It would have been easy to have lost your nerve after spending all the money in the summer and moving along. Nobody would want to play Bournemouth today. Not even Man City. Nobody. Bournemouth are playing that well. Watch the United game. They fucking absolutely comfortably beat Man United. Should have been 4-0, if not more. So they're no mugs. I'll have to check my fixtures to see when Liverpool are playing them. Hopefully not, because they really are like. I mean, Bournemouth are flying. They're flying up the league. They recruited really well in the summer. Everyone was surprised at their bad start, but I just think he was one of them managers that was going to take 2-3 months to get his message across, and it's worked. So interesting times for Bournemouth fans. Fair play to them.
More manager changes across the EFL. So in the Championship, Alex Neill left at Stoke. We talked about contracts last week and having, performance measures and clauses and things like that. Does it make a difference if you are sacked versus if you resign as well in terms of compensation? Is that sometimes why a manager may hold out until they're sacked, even though they know the writing's on the wall?
No manager's going to resign. Unlike my manager who resigned in the champ and didn't take a payoff, and he was due 6 figures, a good chunk being a championship manager. Very few managers operate that way. They will want to be sacked. None of them resign. And if they resign, they shouldn't get paid.
Yep.
So, 99% of the time they get a check, they get paid, they get sat at home and get paid. My manager was probably the only one I've known in all my time that didn't take a pound note and just wanted to leave. So, interesting. Alex Neill, strange one. Stoke really have had a real hard time the last few years. Really surprising. He's obviously one of those, isn't he? He's a bit like Marmite, him, sometimes when I see him, as regards to, he's obviously a good manager. He's got good pedigree and he's done some good things, Norwich, Preston, and, obviously it's Sunderland in a short space of time. I always thought at the time it was a mistake him leaving Sunderland, but then I heard Stoke do pay well. So it's probably a big reason he went there. So I don't know where Stoke go next.
No, I'm looking at the table. They're 20th place, 21 points. So only a couple of points off the drop at the moment.
They're owned by one of the wealthiest families in the UK. I am astonished that they struggle. I wouldn't know what to say to the Coates family there about what they do and how they operate next. But whatever they've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years obviously is not working. So it'll be interesting to see where they go next. Yeah,
and a win for Sheffield Wednesday, taking them off the bottom. That's 2 wins on the trot.
Fair play.
Still a lot of light between them and fourth bottom, which is Huddersfield at the moment. I think they got a draw. Darren Moore's not really working for them at the moment, I don't think. Which is, I've got mixed feelings on that. I love Darren Moore as an ex-Bradford player. Obviously, I'm not sad to see Huddersfield struggle.
Well, that's your own rivalry things there. Again, new owners at Huddersfield, obviously Darren Moore. It's you look down the bottom. QPR are now on a run with a new manager. Yep. They've 3 or 4 wins in a row. Sheffield Wednesday have nicked a couple of games. I think they mugged Stoke on Saturday, to be fair, with the winner. But again, they've got a foreign manager. It'll be interesting to see how tight it gets if it groups in, or will there be clubs left, adrift come January, February. So interesting league, interesting at the top, interesting at the bottom. Anyone can make a run, win a few games, and suddenly, like I said about Coventry, I watched them the other night. They were brilliant to watch.
Yeah,
they were fantastic to watch. Spent a lot of money on their strikers, and the strikers need to pay them back because they miss a lot of chances. But they're good to watch. And I did say, I think Robbins, was saying about they lost some good players. They obviously brought new players in. A bit like last year, the league, they were way down the league, and then they went bang. So again, I wouldn't write Coventry out of anything, so it'll be really interesting. I guess it comes down to who's got the minerals in January to back them. Yeah. So out of all those teams on the periphery, 2-3 wins away from a run into the playoffs, with the riches on the line being so big at 200 million, do you stick, do you shift? It's a bit like we spoke about Luton. Do you stick? Do you shift?
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you do?
And mistakes are far more costly.
Right. It's a different dilemma trying to get into the playoffs in the Championship. Dilemma at the bottom of the Premier League to try and stay in the Premier League. So they're the fascinating conversations you'd love to hear. People talk about how they make those decisions and whatever else. And do they come off? Do they pay off? Do they not? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Champ and the Prem are good.
Now you talk about the Coventry strikers needing to repay some of the money that was spent on them. Now you're somebody who's sold a few strikers in their time. Is it all about goals, or what are the other attributes from a striker that really play into valuation?
It's not always about goals. The previous striker that both of those players replaced, they sold for 28 million, and he's now pulling up trees in Portugal. He'll probably go again for 50, 60 million, but he was prolific. And I think if Coventry fans, we're going to complain. O'Hare's back from his ACL. He looked $1 million. Well, he looked like $20 million the other night. So the one thing you'd say is they've got pace. I like Sims. I like the Hadji Wright. They both have something, but they need to start scoring more goals. When you spend that kind of money, I think both of them cost 4 or 5 million. So you're going to expect 12 to 15 goals minimum. But there's no doubt Mark Robbins will get the best out of them. It'll be really interesting to see where it goes. But you know, I like both of the strikers, but like I said, they need to target more. Because they're getting in some great positions in the final third.
Well, going into League One, I feel like a broken record, showing surprise that Stevenage won again, but Stevenage won again and now third in the table, and it got the Burton manager the sack.
It did.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, Steve.
So he left, I think, yesterday.
Stevie texted me the other day. He was like, "Thank you for the nice words on the podcast. You know, not a lot of people say nice words about me." I'm like, "Because you wind them up so much, Stevie, you know, by beating them. That's why." You know, but again, I'm not shocked. Yeah. So I will say this: Phil Wallace, who owns Stevenage, he's going to have a busy wallet in January, and on Stevie. Stevie will already be in with the Santa list. It'll be as long as my Mickey. It'll go on forever. So,
but you talk about, you know, making decisions in January. Now they've got decisions to make around, well, the championship is now within sight if we invest in it.
It's all fair game. Well, look, the one thing, Phil Wallace is very screwed on. And the one thing you have to be careful of is that, you know, clubs like us, Stevenage, whatever, with gates, with revenue, you get carried away and it backfires. Yeah. And again, Steve won't like me saying that because he'll want backing. But I'd be saying to my manager, we have to do things the way we want to do things. We can only do what we can afford to do. Yeah. You know, if Darren says to me, well, we need to do this, whenever I go, well, that's great, but that's all I can do. Yeah. And he's been great like that since the summer. I've always been really honest and said, look, that's what we can do. That's what we can't do. You know, he knows, you know, player-wise, what we're selling in January versus what we'll try and go to till the summer. You know, but we'll always, somebody was on to me yesterday about, we're going to lose all these players. I'm like, we're going to lose all these players. And, you know, we've got a great academy. We've got a great 21s. We've got some fucking great talent in the 21s and more we're signing. And we'll always replenish in the first team. You know, our models never change. You know, one goes, one comes in. You know, next man up. And that's just the way it's been. There's not going to be wholesale changes. Of course, people want our players. It's what happens when you do well.
Yeah.
We tend to have exciting players. You know what I mean? That will play a lot higher. But, you know, it's not going to be, you know, 3-4 them sold in January. It's not going to happen. So we know what we want to do, and we'll get on with what we're going to do. So that's the way it is. People need to calm down, stop telling me what to do on social media. It's the same people who said to me I was mad in the summer what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Have a little bit of trust and just calm down.
I'm seeing a few who were Ronnie Edwards haters now changing their mind this season as well.
He's Phil, no word of a lie. Fuck me. Some of the stuff he does, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking pathetic, honestly. He's, you know, fucking madness. Madness. But I'll tell you right now, and this is going to make me fucking chuckle, that I keep telling Premier League clubs, like, stop fucking around and buy him. You know, there might be, he might be getting sold to Germany or Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
There's an exclusive for you.
Yeah.
2 clubs that have come in to me, one from Belgium, one from Germany. You know, so and
then the next price tag in 3 years' time is going to be a heck of a lot more than it is today.
Quicker, 18 months' time, you'll see him getting sold for 70 fucking million to Chelsea.
Right.
I mean, because he's played a year in Belgium or he's played a year in Germany. And this is where Premier League clubs, get your head out of your snobby arses. I want to fucking hear. You know what I mean? Like, it's mental. If you played for a club with a bigger name, you'd be fucking gone already.
To them, is it a risk? Is it a question of risk? You know, can he make the step up because he's played in League One versus he's played in the Bundesliga for a year? We know that he can now take that.
No, he's captain of England under 20 elite squad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he plays with everyone from Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United every fucking week. He's the captain. Yeah, he'd be in the 21s if it wasn't for they've got 6 central defenders from Premier League clubs. The managers said that. You know, like, he could play in the Premier League, and I don't want to say, you know, people go, oh, you always say that. I'm telling you, he could play fucking tomorrow. And here's the funnier thing: the Premier League's less physical than League One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It fucking is. 80% of the games you're playing, it's on the floor. He could play tomorrow. So there, you know, and you know, there is a Premier League club. 2 Premier League clubs want him, and what they'll probably end up doing then is they'll loan him, you know, out into the top half of the Championship. Which is, I'm telling you now, it's not about the money. God's honest truth. He can play tomorrow in the Premier League. He's that good. So, you know, he's going to have a great career. So, but again, if any of those clubs don't give me what I need to get, he'll stay till the summer. I won't lose sleep about that. So that's, you know, I'm not going to be bullied or, you know, bashed into selling one of the best things we've ever had come through our club. He's on a different level. I'll be proud. Like Ivan, I'll watch him go further and further, and I'll be proud. I've had Liverpool fans, email me. We've said, the joy it would give me playing Jurgen Klopp teams. You know what I mean? Fuck you, now almighty! Wow, what's a talent!
So, just staying in League One, I just want to call out Northampton as well as club from last season, doing a great job. 3-0 win at home to Fleetwood on Saturday, comfortably mid-table at the moment.
Really well.
They've been a bit of a yo-yo club the last few years, so
they have really
making more of a go of it this year.
Yeah, I'm actually happy for Calvin and Co, the people who own it and stuff. So fair play to them. Their manager's doing brilliant. They're doing really, really well. Long may it continue. I'm not one of those who want to see Cambridge or Northampton leave the league. Neil Harris has gone into Cambridge. They came from 2 down at Charlton. Fair play. I want to see our rivals do well. Not above us do well, but I want to see them do well. So,
commercially as well, it's the more. I mean, I think about we talk about Huddersfield or whether it's Leeds, and it's been so long since we played against us because of the different directions that we've gone. Commercially, those games would be huge games for us to put playing in.
I want us to go up, and I want them to come up with us then, because you always want to play them. Those are like 14,000 crowd sellouts. You know what I mean? Like if you play Cambridge and Posh played in the Championship. My God, the police bill. Same with Northampton. They're like, proper games. So we go up. I'd love them to come up, the next year or whatever else. So absolutely, and if you're in the same league, if you're in the League One, you want them to be in League One. So I don't want Cambridge United to get relegated or Northampton to struggle and yo-yo and miss that game, because, that's like a 120 grand payday every time you play it. You know what I mean? So of course you want those games.
And League Two was pretty much
big game tonight. You're missing out on. I'm going to watch that game in a couple of hours. You got Bolton versus Portsmouth.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
so that's one.
You're too busy moving into multi-million-dollar homes. You want to do due diligence.
I know where the TV is. I'm not quite sure where the remote is yet.
Big congrats to Phil now. He's bought his first 7-figure home. That's how well he's doing now.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, long may it continue.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. So I'm proud of you. But yeah, they're playing tonight. So it's on TV. It's on Sky. That'll be a really, really good game. Bolton flying, Portsmouth flying. That's I'm looking forward to watching that.
Okay, it should be on ESPN as well then if it's on Sky.
100%. So really, really good game. I think it's 8 o'clock kickoff our time, and one I'm looking forward to seeing, to be fair.
Yeah. So League Two, there wasn't much action because of all the waterlogged pitches. Who stands out?
Wimbledon.
Walsall winning away at Notts County.
Cracking result, honestly.
Yeah.
Notts County have a little bit of that in them at the moment. Doing really well, but then they get a bloody nose off teams you wouldn't expect them to. So they're obviously trying to find a consistency in that league. But the one thing I know about their manager, who I'm fucking amazed he's still there, as regards nobody else has like plucked them. They'll be strong in the second half of the season. Very, very strong. Like, no doubt about it.
I think, you look at the first half against us, they blew us off the park 4-0 at half time. It sounds like defensively, they can be a bit frail, but as an attacking unit, they're
frail. But because I studied the way they played,
perhaps it's deliberately in the way that they're playing.
I like their manager. My manager wasn't going to stay, and it was all about. We did a lot of analysis. I sent my scout 3 times to watch them play, and I've got like 8-page reports on it, whatever. And everything's based on bravery and fearlessness from the back. High press, high tempo, pushing up, and unfortunately, when it doesn't go right, it can leave you vulnerable. So, and don't forget, you get League Two players and non-league players in defensive positions and asking them to play this way. It's very brave. So you never criticize them if they do shit the bed occasionally, or they take a hammer in, or they get a batter in. They'll win more than they'll lose, and they'll be. I still fancy them for top 3.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I think so as well. They've got enough to go all the way for sure this season,
without a doubt.
Now, a couple of other bits and pieces. Dennis Bergkamp revealed that he has dreams of owning a League One club. Apparently, his consortium tried to take over Wycombe. My question is more players as owners. Is there a place for if a player can bring together a consortium and buy a football club? Do you think they would run things differently?
I think
if they were player based rather than somebody who's coming in from more of a business background.
I think there's a place for anyone to own a club. You get a lottery winner and buy a football club. It's just getting the right pieces around you.
Yeah.
Will a former player be better at it than someone else? I'm not sure. If they worked as a technical director or went into that after their career, like Nathan Thompson and other players are doing, that gives them a helping hand. Who knows? Lots of them have gone on to be great technical directors in Holland and other places. You got Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, likes a good meal. He has a club in Spain. I think he's a product in, and so who knows? I haven't seen it being massively successful yet, but hopefully, well, I didn't know the Wycombe owners were selling. I didn't know any of that, so I must have missed all the headlines there. So interesting, but more and more people are trying to buy clubs at our level, so it's not surprising.
Well, it was in the Sun, so Wycombe may not be trying to sell.
Okay,
as I see the link. Who knows?
Who knows?
I remember Lee Power did it at Swindon, didn't he? And that kind of ended in tears, I think.
Yeah, but he was financed by, I think, other people. So it's the same old thing. I haven't really got an opinion on it. I haven't seen anyone become massively successful doing it. But good luck to them if they do put their money where their mouth is.
All right. How are we doing? So I've just got, let's see, a couple of questions, and then we can wrap for today. First one here is, could you ask DMAC his thoughts on Joe Tomlinson? He's been smashing it for MK Dons and just wondered why it didn't really work out for Posh.
So really funny, because I was speaking to Bass before and we were talking about players and clubs and different whatever else. And it just came up with saying, I believe Tomlinson's doing great for MK Dons. He wasn't always fit for us. I would say the only question mark on Joe was, consistency of playing. There was always an injury. There was always a niggle. There was always a problem. There was always something. And when he did play, we didn't get the best out of him. But we signed him knowing that he was this player he's shown at MK Dons. Sometimes players just don't fit with clubs. And when he wasn't in the team, he was one of them who always wanted to go on loan.
Yeah.
Pissed me off last year. He wanted to go back to Swindon. It was like, but I think he was rivaling someone at the time who had an injury. And it was like, you've got a chance of getting in. No, I want to go on loan. Because it was more about the Swindon fans love me and, whatever else. Sometimes you just want a player to put their head down and just focus on getting in the team, winning a place, staying in the team. And every time we did play him, he never took the chance. He never, got a run of games and whatever else. So I'm glad he's doing great at MK Dons. We've got loads of add-ons there to go all the way past our money that we paid from originally, plus a profit if he gets sold. So good for him.
Yeah. What drives some of that from players who they just want to, I understand players want to play, but not necessarily having the patience. Are they afraid that if they're going to sit for a year as a reserve, not really play, then that's going to be the next contract done for them? Or
I think he'd had a little spell at Swindon. He scored a couple of goals. He was player of the month, and the fans were up his arse and loving him. Yeah. He was loving the attention, and then he saw himself, well, if I could go back to Swindon, they'll all love me again. And sometimes footballers are like that. Their egos override everything else. It's not a slight on the boy. He's young. He's 21. I'm sad it didn't work out. We paid 120 grand for him. So I want, he's definitely talented enough. The way we play now, absolutely, but it just didn't work out. And we'd moved on in the summer. We tried so many times, and we just felt, look, this is it now. When he wasn't in the team, he was then saying to the manager, MK Dons are in. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. So we did what was right for him. We covered ourselves with plenty of add-ons and insurance and a big sell-on. So if he comes off, we'll turn a profit on him. So good.
Yeah. All right, I think we're about ready to call it a day then today. You've got Fleetwood at the weekend, is that
right? Fleetwood, Shrewsbury. We've got a busy Christmas. Who have you guys got at the weekend?
Yeah, we've got Gillingham away and then Doncaster away in the next two games. So
big games. And like everything else, need to be on it. So, we'll obviously catch up next week. So we need a few more. We need another 20+ Posh Bradford win doubles. That's what we need.
Yeah, I'll take one at the moment. Although, things have been going a little bit better the last month or so. So green shoots of recovery.
Oh, that's all you want
from us, and let's just continue to keep that. It's a shame for us that Salford was postponed. I think Salford had a lot of injuries. We still had the momentum.
Yeah.
But let's see if we can take that into a couple of tough games. That Gillingham away is not going to be easy.
Neither of those games are. Doncaster weren't mugs when we played them. So, just like you're playing top, you're playing whatever. If you're not on it, you're going to have a problem. So you've got to be at it all the time. So it'll be interesting to see. So, all right, my man. Well, look, good luck with everything with the move in and back in. And to all the fans out there, we'll hopefully be back before Christmas.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again shortly. Until then, stay safe, everyone, and we'll talk to you all soon.